Hello, we're making this video to explain to as many people in the firm as we can talk to easily what we're doing about GST. The purpose of the video is to make clear what it is the firm hopes to achieve. Lohmann will discuss the firm's objectives as far as GST is concerned, and then Peter Robertson, who's chairman of the task force that we've set up, and George Very will discuss a number of other things in greater detail.
It is my pleasure to introduce this film, which begins the firm's program in GST tax. Ever since the government announced its intention to introduce GST tax, the management of the firm has been monitoring the developments, and at its meeting held in March of this year, the committee decided to appoint a task force to introduce the GST program into our firm. This GST program was seen as a tremendous opportunity for many people to become involved in what was to be a significant development in our economy. Many people have likened it to the introduction of decimal currency or the introduction of the PAYE tax system. Since the task force was appointed, it has prepared an action plan, and the first tangible sign of that action plan is this video screening, which will be shown in all of the firm's offices. The action plan sees that there are tremendous opportunities for our firm and for our clients in the introduction of GST tax. Firstly, for the firm, it gives us an opportunity of presenting a high profile in a skill that is new in the country, and will be able to allow us to give our clients an assurance that we have competence in this new area of taxing. It gives an opportunity for each of our individual officers to present to their clients on an individual basis some of these skills. We are there to help our clients, and because it will be something that is very complex for them, we as individuals in the firm have a great chance to show to our clients on a one-to-one basis just how competent we are. The action plan envisaged by the GST committee sees that we will need a large increase in our personnel. One of the points that will be made by the action plan and the committee as they move around our offices is that each of our practice officers will need to devote time and people to the introduction of GST tax. And this film will give you some of the details of what is going to be required. This is a program that if we cannot do well, we would be better not to begin. It is something we cannot afford to do only half well. We have to be prepared to make a big commitment in people and in time. And on behalf of the management of the firm, I urge you and your own officers to make that commitment.
In this section of the video, we want to make a number of points as clearly as we can about what it is the firm is setting out to achieve. And there are basically 5 points that are going to be made. They are the scale of the opportunity, the staff requirements that result from putting in place the things that we want to do with GST, a statement of what services we're actually offering our clients, a section on making sure the opportunity that we have from GST is turned into fees earned by the firm, and an explanation of the program that is being put in place by the GST task force. The first of those things is the scale of the opportunity that GST provides us with. Peter, What is the scale of this opportunity?
Well, Jim, we believe we can generate additional fees of $1.2 million, and at the same time we believe there's a significant opportunity here for us to enhance our reputation with our clients and the business community at large. But it is fundamental that any additional fees that we do generate must be additional to our existing workload. We've got to do both well, or we won't succeed in enhancing our reputation with our clients.
Okay, that spells out the fact that we really need to be doing something different with our staffing at the moment. Trouble is, of course, anybody that you talk to in just about every office around the firm will say that they are very busy at the moment and are going to have great difficulty providing additional staff. How's it going to be done?
Staff is a problem. In fact, it's probably the fundamental problem if we're to do this job properly. There's no question that staff are very difficult to get right now, but I think we've just got to be more creative in the way in which we go about it. I've spent a lot of time talking with George Very on this matter, and he's got some very good ideas. George, could you perhaps tell us some of those ideas?
As Peter says, we spent some time talking about this. We've developed some ideas which I'd like to tell you about later on. At the same time, I'd also like you to make sure that you do try them and that you get back to Doug and I with any additional thoughts you might have, or if you need any help, and we'll be only too happy to come out and talk to you over the telephone or do whatever is required. What I think we really need is some innovative ideas to get this thing off the ground, and perhaps some lateral thinking. And I think the very nature of this task force, the fact that it's going to be involved for a limited period of 6 months, may enable us to take advantage of the recruitment market at the moment by offering something a little different. Firstly, perhaps I should say that ideally what we want to attract right now is qualified people who not only will help us through this goods and services task force program, but will also stay on in business services or other functions and enable us to develop our staff expertise generally. Let's go through some of these things. Firstly, there is the obvious ones, the university graduates coming up in July. There is the work and the liaison we have with the agencies. There is the advertising we can do in local papers, etc. There are the traditional sources that I've mentioned, and one of the ones that I don't think we use as much as we should do is staff contact. Let's make sure that our staff around the country know that we're recruiting people, so that if they know of people who might be able to help us, they come across and talk to us about it. The one that I think, however, that probably has the most potential is our old girls or old boys network. There's a great silent workforce out there, many of whom we know and who know us, who may well be prepared to leave the children with grandma and come and work for Arthur Young on this GST task force. The fact that it's a limited period may well have some attraction to them. I think, though, we need to be flexible as to hours to attract these people, and secondly, we may need to be flexible as to whether these people work in business services to release people for the GST task force, or whether they work in the GST task force itself. I think this one's going to be an important one. As you know, we have over the years developed a good liaison with Arthur Young overseas on short-term transfers. Just recently, we've had an approach from the US firm and from the Canadian firm offering short-term transfer opportunities and arrangements. While the balance date in the US and in Canada may not suit us too well, it is something that I intend to explore and have already started to do so. However, Australia is probably a better bet when I think of it, because they have a 30 June balance date. The timing probably fits a little better there, and they don't have so much pressure anyway over that September-March period. And that too is an area we're exploring and hope to provide some help for you people.
Up to now, you've talked about, in general terms, what we're going to be doing for GST. What specific services are we going to be offering to our clients?
For many organisations, of course, we'll provide services through our normal functional areas, tax, MS and audit. And the work we do there will really be on our normal consulting basis. But something like 70% of the effort that comes through will be serviced through our business services function. And here there's probably three main services that we'll provide. The major one will be an initial interview from which the client goes away with a report. The report will set out a detailed program of what he has to do before GST Day. Some will come to us for some systems setup, and some will come to us after April to process their returns.
Given that most of this work is going to be done for business services clients, and many of those are used to a annual billing, how are we going to ensure that this work actually translates into these additional fees?
Well, Jim, I think that really poses a couple of things. First, we have to consider whether we're providing a service which the client will see as being of value to him and therefore be willing to pay for. And I think the answer here is clearly yes. Secondly, we have to say, well, how do we go about ensuring that we recover the time spent in providing that service? And I think the fundamental point here is that the client has to know he's going to pay for it before he goes into that initial interview. And we've also got to set up a separate assignment number to capture the time we spend in providing that service. By doing that, we identify the time we spend and we enable prompt billing so that the client will relate the bill he receives to the service that we provided. Now, if we're going to do this, what we're really saying is that we have to sell this idea to our clients.
That probably brings us to the last topic in the video. What is the program for achieving all this?
Well, Jim, so far, each office has nominated 2 people to be responsible for the GST effort in that office. One of those people has attended a seminar in Wellington and will be repeating that seminar in the next 2 weeks back in their own office. The first GST brief has been issued, and the second brief is with the printers right now and will be issued in early June. The things that are coming up are covered in the detailed program which we've set out in the action plan. That action plan has been distributed to each office, and we'll be keeping you in touch with progress as the legislation develops. Now, Jim, could I just round off by saying that GST does present us with an opportunity to earn $1.2 million in additional fees and at the same time significantly enhance our reputation. In this video, we've attempted to outline the program that the task force has set for achieving this. But of course, the actual execution of that program rests with the officers. We need your feedback to know if we're on the right track. We're interested in any comments you may have concerning the approach we're taking in that program. Let's make sure we take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you.